Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to do something a little different. You might have seen on quite a while back I did a video of a little pedal car that I built. Actually, my brother-in-law and I both built one, and we've had a lot of fun with them. They're pedal powered, but they also have electric motors on them for electric assist. And they are classed as a class 2 e-bike. They do have throttles, not just pedal assist. So with the gas prices the way they are, my brother-in-law, who lives in a small city, he's been going all around town, going and getting his groceries, going to appointments, whatever. He's driving this thing just like you drive a car. And they are street legal because they are an e-bike. I'll show you here what I'm doing. All right, so the whole solar system is now installed and up and operating. So I'll explain all this. So I mounted my panel on the back of the roof here. And I used some aluminum angle iron as brackets to hold it on there. So that's where the panel's mounted. The wiring for the panel goes forward along there and then across to the charge controller. And there's a positive and a negative input for your panels. Shows it right there. So then for the battery, here there's a positive and negative output that goes down here and across, and it can be plugged in. Now see, I've got one battery here, which is for the one motor, and one battery over there for the other motor. And that solar charge controller can be plugged into either battery to charge it. So what's all this do? Well, there's the charge controller, and I have been taking pictures of it as it progresses the charge. So I'll explain all that from the pictures. At the very bottom, you'll see 3:59:35. Now what that means is that the panel has been on, or the display on, for 3 hours, now 59 minutes and 49 seconds. But the quad was in the garage this morning, and as the sun came up and it became daylight, there was enough daylight, the door was up, so there was enough daylight came into the garage to put a little bit of power to the solar panel, which then activated the charge controller. But it was only getting like 11 volts, and it was not putting out any amps. So the display had energized and turned on, but there was no charge taking place at all. So it was like that for about 2 hours when I came outside and pushed it out into the sun. So we need to subtract those 2 hours because they were doing nothing. So in reality, right now, according to that display, let me get where you can see it. It's 4 hours and 1 minute, which means that it's really been charging for 2 hours and 1 minute. So subtract 2 hours from whatever that time says is what time we've actually been charging the batteries. And I'll show you the improvement and increase in voltage and show you that it really is charging that battery up. I'll be back. Okay, so the very first thing you'll see at the top of the charge controller is the panel voltage, the voltage that the panel is actually putting out. And I'll explain a little later how to program all this and why it works and how it works. But for right now, understand that top number is the voltage the solar panel is producing. The second number on the display shows the level at which the battery is charged. Now these are 36 volt batteries, but when they are fully charged 100%, they will show about 40 volts. So right now it's just above 36. It will charge on up. And I have the level set at 38. You'll see that in the programming. So the 36 volts, if it drops much below that, it won't even run the motors. So that's where the battery is currently, that's the level it's currently at. The next number down shows the amperage being produced by the panels and going into the batteries. And it'll vary somewhat on an overcast day, or if you're mobile and you go under a tree, or just a little cloud goes over. It'll go up and down, and it's limited, as you saw, at 2.5, and I'll show you again that in the programming. Okay, so now I'm going to try to explain to you how you program. This is an MPT 7210A. That is important. It says it's a charge controller, and it is, but it's more than that. It is actually a power boosting battery charger charge control. And what I mean by that is, most charge controllers have to be matched to your panel. This is a 12 volt panel. That's what it's rated at. That's what they're calling it. So I would need a 12 volt charge controller if I had any other one other than this. Only that wouldn't work, because that means I'd be putting 12 volts into a 36 volt battery. That can't work. It won't charge it. It won't do it. It won't do anything. With this particular charge controller, it boosts the power that it is receiving. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. It just does. Here's how you program it. So the first thing you do is turn it off. Then you hit the set button, which highlights these little zeros here. Now this right hand column here is a mode switch. In other words, you can have it in mode 00, mode 1, mode 2, be 01, 02, 03. I think you can do up to 4. So if you have different conditions or different batteries you want to charge, like if I wanted to charge a 12 volt battery, I could set this up, program it that way in mode 01, and charge the 36 volt battery in mode 00, and then switch to the 12 volt charge in mode 02. I'm only using this on my quad here, so I'm not going to have more than one mode. So mode 00 is where we're going to stay. You press set again. When you do, you'll see that top line is highlighted. That is the panel voltage. And I know it's a 12 volt panel, but when it's turned on and it's just in the display mode, if you noticed, that panel is putting out up to about 22 volts. Extremely efficient panel. So I set the voltage just below what it is putting out. So you run the up and down arrows to change that. So I can run it up more, or I can run it down more. I'm going to keep it about right there. Then you push set again. Now that goes to your battery voltage. Batteries always hold a little more than they're rated. In other words, these are 36 volt batteries. When they're fully charged with the AC charger, they're running right around 40 volts. So I set this just a little lower than that just to be safe, but I set them at 38 volt. Again, up and down arrows if you want to change that. Then you hit set again. That goes to your amps. The AC chargers for these batteries is rated at 2 amps. I set this just a little bit above that, although it never really reaches the 2.5. But if it did reach the 2.5, it'll zero out. It'll stop. It won't allow more amperage than that to go into the batteries, which protects your batteries. If you find that it's zeroing out, you need to raise the panel voltage. This right, where is it? Right there, that top one, the 21.17. If it was tripping off, if it kept going back to zeros on the amps, then I would raise that to maybe 22 and see how that works. So anyway, I have my amperage set at 2.5, so that it will never put more than that into the batteries. Once you have the amperage set, you don't hit set, you hit OK. Then I press and hold the set button. Hold it for 3 or 4 seconds. When you do, now it goes down to the zeros there, the yellow zeros with the X. That's the wattage. And that'll be determined automatically with the voltage in the amps. So once you're highlighted on there, then you press the set button again, and it goes down and highlights the blue amp hour. That 20 amp hours that I have it set on is what my batteries are rated at. Some of these are 15 amp hour, some are 20, some are even 50 amp hour. Way more expensive. But whatever your amp hour reading of your battery is what you set that at. When you've got that set, you hit OK again. It'll be off. You hit OK again, turns it on, and you're back up and running. Now, that tells me that the batteries are right now at 37.48 volts, and now you see the amps climbing. And they'll climb back up to like 1.8 or 1.9, just below the 2.5 amps that I have it set at. It'll keep climbing until it does that. So that's how you program it. But you have to have this exact charge controller to use panels that are rated for a voltage other than the same as the battery voltage. Okay, so in the first picture, and remember to subtract 2 hours, at 14 minutes into the charge, we're sitting at 36.81 volts. In the second picture, we're at 1 hour and 10 minutes. It has climbed to 37.26 volts. And just 46 minutes later, it's up to 37.86 volts. So as you can see, it definitely is charging the batteries. So we haven't had it out since we did the solar, but the batteries as they existed had about a 25-mile range, depending on how much you pedal. If you got a little lazy, it was a little less than that. Now we're hoping to extend that with the solar. I guess we'll see. We've had so much fun with it this summer. My wife and myself and my brother-in-law. We've been to some outdoor concerts. We've been to some fireworks displays. Stopped at a beer garden on it. At the last fireworks where you're at, we met some of the nicest people, and they even expressed an interest in building one. Last I talked to them, they just ordered the plans. So I guess we'll see how that goes. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more videos. See you next video.